Good morning. I'm Janette Millin Young, your senator, your voice, your advocate in the 31st Legislature, wishing you a most happy, safe, and fun Freedom Weekend. It has been a pleasure to have participated in the Varlickville Village opening on St. John Tuesday. I believe the St. John 4th of July Festival Committee has done an awesome job of planning for this year's celebration, and I am delighted. I'm also encouraging all of you to take some time to enjoy the cultural festivities. And please be safe. Let us look out for one another's safety. As we celebrate our culture, let us also celebrate our history. For we have come a long way from the days of the Danish, when our ancestors heard the eternal call to freedom. In the Danish West Indies, the society that predates our present U.S. Virgin Islands, numerous nameless and faceless people resisted servitude, colonialism, and economic exploitation. But all humans are imbued with the same inalienable rights to freedom and justice, and on July 3rd, 1848, a courageous group of freedom-loving slaves demanded the end of slavery, and they gained their freedom. This was one of the few mass actions that led to a successful emancipation of all enslaved people in a society. However, it was not the first or only instance that a people have risen to transform their society. On July 4th, 1776, a group of patriots agreed to transform the then British American colonies and create a new experiment in democracy where power would belong to the people and sovereignty would be rooted in the will of the people. At that time in history, power was concentrated in the hands of absolute kings and queens, even emperors and czars. In the 18th through 19th centuries, virtually every independent nation or country was controlled by a dynasty or elite. The American Revolution called for the creation of a secular republic in which power was based on popular will and was not concentrated in a chief executive. It was separated into three branches, and there were checks and balances. The framework was based on a constitution that was ratified by the founding states. This Constitution included 10 amendments known as the Bill of Rights, which have become a sacred aspect of what we now consider the American way of life. Thus, it is not surprising that Virgin Islanders would celebrate both the day our ancestors shook off the cruel shackles of bondage and the day the American people declared their independence. This American experience has grown to include all of the unincorporated territories, such as us, the U.S. Virgin Islands. With such a history behind us, it saddens me that we live in an era in which life seems to have little meaning, where killings have become a norm. We cannot continue to live in this way. This week in session, my colleagues warmly supported a measure that I have worked on for just over 4 years. My crime bill was voted on by 15 of us as we found consensus on the need for a comprehensive analysis of the factors that contribute to violent crime in our territory. Instead of a task force that would comprise of several government agencies, it will be implemented by the Commissioner of Health through a wellness program. We know that this legislation is not a silver bullet or a magical potion that will do away with the demon of violence, but it is a necessary step. Violent crime impacts every aspect of our lives. As a mother of a 16-year-old son, my heart is heavy whenever I read or hear of any violent incident impacting our young people, especially our young men. This heaviness was lightened a little when I attended a peace march in Tutu last week. Trust me, I felt the pain of the mothers who mourned for their children who are the victims and the perpetrators. But I was pleased to see the faith community, local and federal law enforcement officials, and other community leaders who showed up, prayed, and literally stood up to be present as caring and loving fellow Virgin Islanders. Crime kills the cream of the crop. It introduces a genocidal tendency among our youth, and it destroys our families. No amount of dollars can replace the lives of the young people we lose, but if we had to use some standard measures just for the sake of analysis, we are in serious trouble. Some tentative statistics indicate that at least 650 people were killed since 2000. If we assess each life to be paid the same value of the settlement funds given to young males on the U.S. mainland of, say, $5 million, we can safely say that our family families and society have lost $3.25 billion in human capital. In 16 years, we have lost that figure. If we factor in the cost of incarceration and rehabilitation, medical and psychological, the numbers could be estimated to be another $1 billion, to include the incarcerated, permanently scarred and wounded, and psychologically damaged. These are just tentative statistics, but with the crime bill being enacted, we will find the true extent of crime. As expected, my colleagues and I do not agree on everything. Last night, I did not agree with those colleagues who supported an amended version of Bill 31-0255. On the floor, I stated my reasons, and I will only say the Virgin Islands judicial branch needs to be built carefully without any outside interference, and every reform must be well considered. It is not wise to make any decision, either through legislation or chief executive action, that will erode the separation of powers and meddle in the business of the institution. As is well known, Judge Michael Dustin has filed a lawsuit against the action taken against him by the governor. I am troubled by the clear appearance of external interference as a retaliation due to public opposition that Judge Dustin made on May 26, 2016. In the Third Circuit decision made in favor of former Superior Court Judge Leon Kendall, we know that judges have a right to free speech on judicial issues. We must be concerned if the true reason to remove Judge Dustin was based on his exercise of free speech on any issue in which he has expert knowledge. Nonetheless, I will speak more about this in the future only from the legislative point of view. I do not know Judge Dustin personally, so my stand on this is not personal. Before I leave, I ask that on primary day, August 6th, you vote for me so that I can continue to raise my voice and serve you as your senator. Thank you for listening. Until next time, same station, I'm Janette Millin Young, your senator, your voice, your advocate in the 31st Legislature.